Hello everybody, my name is Cinema Dude, and today I'm going to be talking about Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is the latest thing Hollywood has yet to get a legacy sequel on. Now let me just go ahead and start by talking about some of my mixed and negatives I had with this movie. Like for starters, I felt like this movie was carrying way too many plots at once. So, like, the first 35 minutes of this movie is rough, dude. I'm not even gonna lie. I was worried. There's some funny parts. There's some interesting parts in that first minute. But it is so jumbled up with all these different stories going on. With, Ortega's character over here. This over here. It just did not mesh well how they were setting it up. And maybe because it was a first viewer experience. And I didn't know whether they were building up to it or what was happening. But I was so happy that it ended up just finally working it, because the movie introduces this sense of urgency. We need to get this done. We need to go save this person. And then that's when all the stories kick in together and it works really well. But because we get all of these subplots to build up to the main plot of the movie, not all of them work well. Not all of them get satisfying conclusions. Like, for one, the villain of this movie, Beetlejuice's ex-girlfriend. They tie her into Beetlejuice's origin and give her, like, a really cool introduction scene. They attempt to make you scared of this villain, and they do so much with her, only for, after, the first 45 minutes, she doesn't show up till the very end of the finale, and they just do something super lazy to get rid of her, and when her and Beetlejuice meet, it's very short-lived. It's literally something that they were building up to, and it was working really well. But then the movie's like, oh yeah, we have a runtime, and ended up doing something to close out the story. Now, aside from finding lazy ways to end plot points, they were also pretty smart, I might add. Because of the fact that most of these plot points were here just so the movie could happen, it had a lot of random conclusions that weren't satisfying at all. But aside from them being lazy, they're actually really smart ways to end the plots. Like, they use certain elements they introduced into the story to exit out some of the plots and end them. It works, it just feels very anticlimactic and not satisfying. But other than that, I must say, I had a fun time with Beetlejuice. Now, any casual person will come out just loving this movie. Because aside from jumbled up plots at the first 35 minutes, this movie is a fun time. Starting off with Michael Keaton, he's not lost his touch. He has absolutely killed it in the role as Beetlejuice. He absolutely knocks it out of the park with every funny scene he gets, all the practical scenes, and it just looks like Michael Keaton just having a fun time. Also, Tim Burton knocked it out of the park with practical effects, backgrounds, claymation, stop motion. Everything. The visual effects in here just looked grand and amazing. Also, this movie does so good at world building and expanding the Beetlejuice world out further. We get to see much more of the afterlife here, how it works, some new rules are introduced in here, and it's just a lot of fun. Also, Jenna Ortega's character in here, she did really well. A lot of people were expecting her just to play Wednesday again, but no, I will say she definitely switched up the character and does feel more like Lydia Deetz. On the same subject as Lydia Deetz, Winona Ryder in here is just as good as she was in the first movie. I really do feel like she's the exact same character. When I mention characters that were, introducing new things into the Beetlejuice world, the one I'm talking about is Willem Dafoe, because it introduces kind of a police force in the Beetlejuice world. Willem Dafoe plays an actor that accidentally died in an accident when using a fake grenade. And he has an army of ghoul-skinned cops. And I must say, he was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Also, a really good part of it was that they would kill off characters, but because of the rule of Beetlejuice, they can come back. Also, a lot of people from the first movie was wondering how they were going to handle Charles Dietz, the husband from the first movie. A lot of people were scared about that. A lot of people were very hesitant. But just let me tell you, because the actor turned out to be a douche in real life, they handled it really well. They gave him a weird death scene, and it's hard to explain without spoiling it, because I probably will talk spoilers eventually, but until then, just have confidence in that. Catherine O'Hara coming back in here as the stepmother. Once again, she plays the role excellent from a good 20-year age gap. Also, there are some crazy
wild effects and scenes in here that just caught me off guard that I think is going to just randomly get you. Like, there was a pregnancy scene in here that I was just like, oh my god, what? When I tell you Tim Burton did some wild things, he did some wild things. Also, this movie does really well with adding, like, new side characters, like they had one named Bob. And let me tell you, man, Bob is the MVP of this movie. They give a lot of different characters screen time in here, which I think is good, and it just really helps expand on a lot of the character's arc. Also, the arc that Jenna Ortega's character goes on through here, where she meets a boy, she's struggling with her mom, and she's not believing that her mom can actually see the paranormal, but it gets solved up pretty well in here. Also, the comedy in this movie hits, and a lot of that's thanks to Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. This man is just a straight up cartoon character. He kills it at Beetlejuice. He is just so funny to watch, dude. Like, there's a joke involving sending someone to hell in here that just had me dying. Just because of how wild and off-put it was. But anyway, I actually really enjoyed Beetlejuice. From a critical standpoint, I'll give this movie a 6 out of 10. Anyone else? 8 out of 10. My review's a 7. I know there's going to be a lot of casual fans that just want to see Beetlejuice back. They're going to end up loving this movie, saying it's the best movie ever. But if you're someone that just likes to analyze movies down like me, and you're just wanting to put your bar really high with it, kick back, relax, and have fun with it. That first 30 minutes, I was worried and confused, holding that they could go somewhere good with the story, and when they did, I was completely relaxed and having a good time. So if those first 30 minutes to you seem off-putting, rough, just hard to believe that they can go somewhere good with it, just have trust, faith, they'll connect all the storylines and it'll fit very smoothly. Anyway, that was just my opinion on Beetlejuice. If you guys are excited for Beetlejuice and have already checked it out, go ahead and tell me what you thought of it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys later.